Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer, and if you are between the ages of 75 and 85, or if you love someone who is, I need exactly the next 10 minutes of your time. Because what I'm about to share with you today is something I've seen with my own eyes over and over in clinic after clinic for more than 2 decades. There is a small group of people in this age range who simply do not age the way everyone expects them to. They walk a little taller, they laugh a little louder, their minds stay sharp while their friends start repeating the same story 3 times in one conversation. And for years, I assumed it was luck. Good genes, maybe a little bit of stubbornness, but it isn't luck at all. It's habits. 6 very specific habits that almost nobody talks about anymore. Habits that used to be common sense a generation ago, but have quietly disappeared from most people's daily lives. I call them the quiet six because the people who still practice them rarely brag about it. They just live it. And by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what they are, why they matter so much more after 75 than at any other point in life, and how you can start doing every single one of them starting today. No gym membership, no expensive supplements, no complicated routine required. So stay with me because thing number 3 completely changed the way I talk to my own patients. And thing number 5 might be the one thing standing between you and the next 10 healthy years of your life. Let's get into it. The first thing almost nobody does anymore is take a real walk outside every single day, rain or shine, rather than just shuffling around the house. I had a patient, I'll call her Eleanor, 81 years old, sharp as a tack, who told me her secret was something her own mother used to say: the mailbox is a destination. Every single day, no matter the weather, Eleanor walks to her mailbox and back, and on good days, she keeps going around the block. That's it. No fitness tracker, no fancy shoes. But here's what's happening in her body while she does that. Walking outdoors, even slowly, stimulates circulation to the brain, strengthens the muscles around aging joints, and exposes her skin to natural sunlight, which helps her body produce vitamin D, something that becomes harder to absorb as we get older and that's tied directly to bone strength and even mood. Most seniors in this age group move less than 15 minutes a day total. Eleanor moves almost an hour, broken into small walks. She isn't training for a marathon. She's training her body to remember that it still knows how to move. The second thing is lifting something heavier than a coffee cup at least a few times a week. I know that sounds almost silly, but stay with me. After 75, the body can lose almost 1% of its muscle mass every single year if nothing is done to stop it. And that loss is exactly what leads to falls, fractures, and that frightening loss of independence so many families fear. I have a patient named Walter, 83, who keeps a pair of soup cans on his kitchen counter, literally canned soup, and twice a day while his coffee brews, he does slow arm curls, 15 on each side. He calls it his kitchen gym. It costs him nothing and takes him 90 seconds. But that tiny bit of resistance, done consistently, is enough to preserve the muscle that keeps him steady on the stairs, strong enough to carry his own groceries, and confident enough to keep living in his own home instead of moving into assisted living, which is exactly what his children worried about 3 years ago. The third thing, and this is the one that changed how I practice medicine, is staying socially connected on purpose, not by accident. So many of my patients wait for the phone to ring. The ones who thrive go out and make the call themselves. I have a patient, Dorothy, 84, who started what she calls her Tuesday table, a standing coffee date with 3 other women from her old church every single Tuesday at 10 in the morning, rain or shine. No excuses. When I asked her why it mattered so much, she said something I'll never forget. Loneliness doesn't kill you quickly, doctor. It kills you slowly, one quiet afternoon at a time. And the research backs her up completely. Chronic isolation in older adults has been linked to a risk of early death comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15 cigarettes a day just from being alone too often. Dorothy isn't just having coffee, she is literally adding years to her life, one Tuesday at a time. The fourth thing is feeding the brain something new to chew on, not just feeding the body. Crossword puzzles are fine, but the seniors who stay the sharpest are doing something more active than that. They're learning. Actually learning. I have a patient named Robert, 79, who decided at 76 that he was finally going to learn Spanish, something he'd wanted to do since he was a young man stationed overseas. He uses a simple app on a tablet his granddaughter set up for him. just 15 minutes a day. He isn't fluent. He'll probably never be fluent. But his brain is building brand new neural pathways every single day, something neuroscientists call cognitive reserve. And that reserve is one of the strongest protective factors we know of against memory decline. The brain, much like the body, follows the same rule: use it or lose it. Robert isn't learning Spanish to impress anyone. He's learning Spanish to keep his mind young. The fifth thing, the one I mentioned earlier that might matter more than people realize, is eating enough protein at every single meal, not just at dinner. This is the one most families get completely wrong. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at using protein to maintain muscle, which means the small breakfast of toast and jam that worked perfectly fine at 50 is now quietly starving the muscles at 80. I have a patient, Margaret, 77, whose daughter started adding a scoop of plain Greek yogurt or a couple of eggs to her breakfast every morning alongside her usual toast. Within 4 months, at her follow-up appointment, Margaret's grip strength, something we actually measure in clinic, had noticeably improved. Grip strength might sound like a strange thing to track, but it's one of the best predictors we have of overall strength, independence, and even longevity in older adults. One small change at breakfast. That's all it took. And the sixth thing, the quiet one that almost nobody discusses anymore, is keeping up with regular checkups and screenings even when nothing feels wrong. I cannot tell you how many times a patient has said to me, "Doctor, I feel fine. Why do I need this test?" And I understand the instinct completely. But after 75, the body can hide serious problems remarkably well. Things like silently rising blood pressure, early bone thinning, or shifts in heart rhythm. Problems that often show no symptoms at all until they become emergencies. I have a patient, Henry, 82, who almost skipped his annual checkup because, in his words, "I haven't felt this good in years." That single checkup caught an irregular heart rhythm early, something called atrial fibrillation, that we were able to manage with simple, well-tolerated medication before it ever became a stroke. Henry is doing wonderfully today, gardening, traveling, spoiling his great-grandchildren. But he is doing all of that because he kept an appointment he almost canceled. So there you have it. Daily walks outside, no matter how short. A few minutes of real resistance work, even with soup cans. Social connection that you build on purpose, like Dorothy's Tuesday table. Active learning that keeps building new pathways in the brain, like Robert and his Spanish lessons. Real protein at every meal, not just at dinner. And regular checkups even, especially when you feel perfectly fine. None of these six things require a special diet, an expensive program, or a complete overhaul of your life. They require consistency, and they require starting. Today, not someday. Now, before you go, I want you to do something for me. I want you to pick just one of these six things, the one that feels easiest for you to start this week, and I want you to actually do it. Not next month, this week. If it's the walk, go take it right after this video ends. If it's the phone call to an old friend, make it today. Small, steady choices are exactly what built every single success story I shared with you, and they can absolutely build yours too. And of course, before starting anything new, especially new exercise or changes to your diet, please do check in with your own doctor, who knows your specific health history far better than any video ever could. If this video helped you, even just a little, please consider giving it a thumbs up so that more families and more seniors can find this information when they need it most. Subscribe to this channel because every single week I bring you real, practical guidance straight from my own clinical experience. No fear-mongering, no gimmicks, just honest information that respects your intelligence and your independence. And please, in the comments below, tell me which of these six habits you're going to start with. I read every single comment, and I would be so genuinely glad to hear from you. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next video. This is Dr. Jennifer, wishing you many more strong, sharp, joyful years ahead.